Capitol Hill is getting ready for a quiet storm that could change everything we know about money. It's not about a new financial disaster, the economy going down, or even the usual gridlock in Washington. There is one part of the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act that could have huge effects on the world's money. The Digital Dollar Amendment, Section 80B of the NDA, says that the U.S. Treasury should keep a strategic store of neutral digital assets to make sure that the U.S. dollar stays the most important currency in the world. It may seem like the details of this rule are very technical, but they really show a huge change in how the U.S. government sees digital currencies. They're not talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the other stable coins that are filling the market. No, XRP is the most likely digital product to meet the requirements set out in this law. Let's look into that. Very specific wording is used in Section 8B of the NDA. It says that the Treasury must keep digital assets that are neutral, not tied to any one government or territory, open, efficient, and able to keep the foreign exchange market stable. These are all things that XRP already has, which makes it the only choice for the job. XRP is a decentralized, fast, and very liquid payment network that banks, other financial institutions, and even central banks around the world already accept. There aren't as many risks with this cryptocurrency as there are with Bitcoin or stablecoins, which are often owned by private groups and are volatile. With the support of the U.S. Treasury for XRP, it could become the new gold standard for the U.S. dollar. This isn't just a dream anymore. This sentence has effects in the real world, and if it becomes law, it will cause a huge demand for XRP. If the U.S. Treasury is told to keep only 1% of the M2 money supply in XRP, there will be a demand shock of more than 200 billion. The number of XRP coins in circulation is thought to be around 50 billion. This means that even if this number is too low, each XRP could easily become worth several $1,000s. In fact, some experts think that XRP will be worth 50,000 in the next few years if this law happens and the Treasury starts to really collect it. Price movement for speculation is important, but that's not all of it. This is about the U.S. taking charge of its financial future in a world that is quickly moving towards digital currencies. This is happening all over the world, but especially in China with the launch of the digital yuan. The Chinese government has worked hard to make the digital yuan a world currency, and it's already being used in trade deals along the Belt and Road Initiative. The United States needs to act quickly if it wants to keep its position as the world's leading banking power. The answer might not be a digital currency issued by the U.S. central bank, but rather a partnership with a neutral digital asset that can work with the current financial system and give the U.S. an edge over its competitors. That's where XRP comes in. Supporting the U.S. dollar with XRP would not only make it a safe, efficient, and clear reserve currency, but it would also show the rest of the world that the U.S. is committed to staying on the cutting edge of financial technology. As part of its strategic reserve, the U.S. Treasury would buy huge amounts of XRP, making it the biggest XRP whale in the world. This would put a lot of pressure on the buy side of XRP, which would drive up its price as demand around the world rises. When people found out that the U.S. government now publicly backs XRP, banks, institutions, and even countries would rush to buy it. In terms of geopolitics, this has huge effects. XRP could replace gold as the standard for the US dollar. This would make the US even more the center of global banking. The United States could keep being the world's biggest trade power while relying less on old settlement systems like StubFT thanks to XRP's speed and efficiency in cross-border payments. In many foreign transactions, XRP could be used instead of the dollar. This would give the US an unmatched advantage in global trade. This brings up the question of price. Let's break it down. The amount of M2 money in circulation in the US is about 21 trillion right now. Even if the US Treasury only backed 1% of that with XRP, that would bring 210 billion into the market. Because there aren't many XRPs in circulation and the US government's buy would make them scarce, prices could easily reach levels that make current prices look like peanuts. As time goes on, it's not impossible that XRP will hit $50,000 or even higher as more investors, financial institutions rush to get a piece of this new financial ecosystem. But, price isn't the only thing that matters. Trust and security are too. In a world where traditional financial systems are under more and more stress, a neutral, decentralized digital asset like XRP that is accepted by institutions and governments could be the key to keeping the world economy stable. The United States would no longer have to use old ways to keep its currency stable. It would instead have a digital asset that can be used to settle payments, back savings, and keep the dollar's value without the risks of fiat currency inflation. But this isn't an easy choice to make. There are people who would say that this would make the dollar less valuable as the world's main currency. Because the dollar is so important in foreign trade, the United States has had more power than any other country in the world. However, this change to a digital product isn't always a threat to the dollar. It's actually a way to improve it, bring it up to date, and prepare it for the digital age that's coming. As the world changes quickly, the US needs to change with it in order to stay competitive. Cryptocurrencies are known to be volatile, so critics will question whether XRP can really provide the security that the US dollar needs. On the other hand, XRP has been tried and tested in the real world. Big banks and other financial institutions all over the world are already using it to settle payments made across borders. It's much less volatile than Bitcoin, and it can grow without slowing down or costing more. In all honesty, it's the best choice for this job. It's possible for XRP to become the world's most stable and useful currency if it were properly regulated and backed by institutions. Last but not least, if the US government adds XRP to its official reserves and starts using it to back the US dollar, it could be the start of a new era in global banking. What this means is huge. People would no longer think of XRP as just another cryptocurrency. Instead, they would see it as the basis for a whole new banking system. The price of XRP would reach all-time highs as investors, governments, and companies rush to buy it. What would be the new gold standard? It would not be something from the past. It would be a digital object backed by the US government. And the prizes could be out of this world for those who get in early. We are on the edge of a possible new financial world. The question now is not if XRP will become the new gold standard, but when, nota bene, please keep in mind that I'm not a qualified financial manager. The information in these movies is only meant to be entertaining. Before making any financial decisions, I always tell my viewers to do their own study and talk to professionals. Thanks for listening. Do not forget to hit the follow button and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure you turn on alerts so you know right away when I post something new. In the next movie, I can't wait to catch up with you. Be careful.